All right. All right. It is. Let's get this. Let's get this Thursday evening stream. It's March 2nd. I'm Ted with the Crypto Flight Path. Let's make sure we got audio. Looks good on this side. I believe we are solid on this end. All right. No rookie mistakes tonight. It's Thursday, March 2nd. It's about 8:24 p.m. It's been a long day. Interesting day. We're gonna basically tonight. What I want to try and cover is to talk a little bit about the price action. Now these are not huge moves, but still, given some of the price action over the last few weeks, looking at the Dow, for example, coming off the 34,500 range, starting at about the middle of last month and coming back down to retest this lower area, we can see that it looked like things were, buyers were just not here, and the sellers were just what the data point that matters most is that if I can find it here, basically was saying that he said, make sure you can see it here. He said he's firmly in favor of a 25 basis point hike path forward, and that's a quarter of a full interest rate point. There had been talk previously of 50 basis point or half point hikes were necessary to tame rampant inflation in the U.S., and it's been causing things to be a little bit difficult, in a manner of speaking, for markets around the world, especially those with U.S. dollar denominated debt. The cost of servicing the national debt here has gone up as a result of interest rates going up. So interesting today. Just wanted to point out and touch on a couple of different things. One of them being a perceived Bostic reversal of having been very hawkish over the last several weeks and months. And so this was from Zero Hedge, zerohedge.com. And looking over at this article from Bloomberg, it said, thinks that, where's the data point? Good gravy. Has to do, okay, so Bostic's remarks boosted sentiment, and we can see that over here. The market, U.S. indices were way up today. A couple of other interesting things going on, but in broad strokes, if you were long the Dow, the NASDAQ, and the S&P today, you made money. So what I'm trying to communicate here is that this dovish remark from the Federal Reserve governor, last name Bostic, boosted sentiment, and it's a walking back or a reversal from a previously hawkish rhetoric, which still, as Bloomberg is pointing out, it's driving treasuries into the dollar. So the thing we need to be careful of is that we don't get complacent or lazy and think that things are just going to magically be better, because there are a couple of interesting things that are happening so looks like stock futures have eased up a little bit according to this trading economics chart here. This is looks like an aggregate collection of this is the Dow. I'm sorry, it's not an aggregate. Probably something more useful to look at though is this trading economics calendar. It looks like tomorrow, the 3rd of March, so Friday, March 3rd, we got a couple of big important things coming down the pipe. The ISM non-manufacturing PMI numbers are going to be released. And more importantly than that, we have Fed Logan, Fed Bostic, Fed Bowman, and Fed Barkin. 4 Fed governors are going to be making the rounds on quote-unquote TV tomorrow. And that's ultimately going to, it's gonna matter, and that's why I'm bringing, or the thing I'm talking about is just to remind everyone that these Fed talking heads that we call them, they do they do play a role, uh, and most of the time it's just the fact that they're speaking and the language, the words that they choose. It's all this is all leading up to the next the FOMC meeting, where the minutes will get published, and then the next time that the Federal Reserve Chair Powell will announce to the world really that what the next interest rate move will be in the U.S. So tradingeconomics.com/calendar is a good resource to keep an eye on. Another one is cryptocraft.com. Is another more consolidated economic calendar. It's good, and you'll see that tomorrow they point out the ISM services PMI is coming out, and then the Fed monetary policy report. So I think those are important things to keep in mind. Another great resource that we talk about a lot here on the Crypto Flight Path is cryptopanic.com. This is a really interesting, great news aggregator. I won't really touch on much of what's in here now. Just wanted to summarize. We saw a pretty nice move up in equities today. It had to do with Fed Bostic talking way more dovish than he has in the past. And what remains to be seen, though, is tomorrow we've got 4 Fed governors all speaking tomorrow at different times. I think it's Logan that's first at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed Bostic again at quarter to the hour of noon, Bowman at 3 p.m. and Barkin at 4:45. So that will be interesting. We'll keep an eye on some things, but more importantly, like right now in this moment, even though it's 8:30 Eastern, I'm getting a lot of alerts firing in my right ear over here from the TradingView charts. So I'm gonna flip over to the charts here, and I want to point out some things that we're observing right now that half an hour ago weren't really going crazy, but we're seeing. We've got a bunch of different alerts that I've set over the last several days, like FTM, Sushi, Ape, and Render. We'll come back and look at all those, but most interestingly is just in the last maybe like 15 minutes, we're watching this Ethereum USD chart, or Ethereum Tether USDT has broken down way below 1600. We're now in the 1560s. The low here was 1543. I mean, that's a pretty big move lower just in the last like 15-20 minutes of me sitting down here to do this. And Bitcoin the same. We're back below 22,000, or back below 23,000 here, 22.4. Pretty like outsized move over the last, compared to the last several days. I mean, the range on this candle this is a 4-hour candle, pretty big. Looks like we've got about an hour and 30 minutes left on this 4-hour candle here, but definitely broke below 22.5, and something is going on. So the FTM here, Phantom, this had come back and was retesting this previous support zone. This definitely is moved lower here. It's if you got long yesterday or the day before, you're probably like questioning what the heck is going on. We'll take a look at SHIB. Yeah, SHIB's definitely rolling over here too. Looks like we're going to come back down and retest this like much lower level here than where we've been consolidating for several days and a couple weeks now. Solana definitely broke way below what. I mean, it was interesting. I was looking at this thinking about longing it, but that definitely glad we were kind of sitting on our hands the last couple days. So tomorrow's price, tomorrow's here's a Solana daily chart. So what we're going to look for tomorrow is to see if we can make some sense of like what's going on here, and if we're just experiencing some sort of like panic reaction to if there's a liquidity problem, if has to do with news today around Silvergate Bank or any FTX nonsense. This, depending on your bias and your trading strategy or your investment thesis, this may be a good opportunity to look for areas of value where prices have pulled back to now, and you might accumulate. It's not investment advice, but just keeping an eye on this and trying to make some sense of it as this definitely has violated this, the beginning of the year, sushi, here we're looking at a sushi swap here, definitely started moving up in tandem with everything else, corrected nicely here, and tried to push back up, but has just gotten firmly rejected at that basically 150. So interesting. Let's take a look at near. Yeah, this. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on right now, but this is a good example of if you're trading. If your approach to the market is to trade for short-term gain and you're trading perpetuals or futures or derivatives instead of, or even if you're trading spot, keeping your risk management in focus. And golly, in GRT, the graph was doing well, and definitely gonna have to go back to the drawing board on some of these and reestablish and redraw where we think like support and resistance lines, new lines in the sand need to be drawn, so to speak. And let's see, that's the dollar index, NASDAQ. Here's Synapse. Yep, definitely pulling back here. Filecoin, bit of a trap. Looks like if you look at this so on Wednesday, we had this nice little move up, but then we've reversed that, as you can see. Matic, man, ASTR, Astar definitely coming back. I've got an alert set here. Looks like there's decent support though. So again, with all this like quick moving up into these areas here and all of this pulling back and somewhat indecision, and then a quick move down here, perhaps this is just where the path of least resistance is. Here's a chain link chart. This has been sideways since last year in May, and this is Bitcoin Cash. Just again, this has been sideways for almost the same amount of time, maybe a little bit less. But really, the things we'll keep an eye on to see if this dip, this correction back down into the 1550 range here is enough to well, the thought I'm trying the thought that is percolating here is that if this move down here gets enough short sellers excited and they try and chase it lower, but then we get a nice bump or a nice influx of demand, then this might catch a lot of people off sides or on the wrong end of the or wrong side of the trade, and could cause a bit of a squeeze. We'll see. But that is what we're seeing, and interesting to see it 22. Let's see, in Bitcoin here, the low was 22,020. So basically 22,000. This area of support is now it bounced off of this previous collection here of days back on the 10th of Feb through the 14th. And then, so halfway through the month, we had a big move up, and we've since come back down, and we're retesting this now. So we'll see what happens, but we'll do a live tomorrow, Friday. We'll see what happens with the Fed talking heads tomorrow, and let's see if this is a bear trap that's being set for people thinking that the party is over and that we've had a great year, but it's too quick. Maybe there's some that think we've moved too high, too fast. We shall see. So, with that, I will go ahead and sign off for